history of the scientific discovery of climate change began in early 19th century, where ice ages and other natural changes in paleoclimate were first suspected and the natural greenhouse effects was first identified. In the late 19th century, scientists first argued that human emissions of greenhouse gases can change Earth's energy balance and climate. Many other theories of climate change were advanced, involving forces from volcanism to solar variation.
Good day to everybody, and I'm going to tackle about deforestation in order to explain what it is and what does consequences deforestation have and why fighting deforestation is important and what are the solutions. As the word itself, de means tinanggal or removal. Tapos pag pinagsama natin, de plus forestation means clearing of the trees or removal of the trees. Let me emphasize ang mga dahilan why deforestation is happening. And there are actually various factors such as natural ones like forest fires and diseases that can cause damages in the trees. At isa na rin dito yung parasites kung bakit nagkakaroon ng mga diseases. Furthermore, hurricanes and floods are the two examples of severe weather occurs in the forest. So, diseases, parasites, and hurricanes and floods are kinds of natural phenomena that happens in the forest. It's a natural one. Yet, human activity is the key factors that contribute in the global deforestation a lot. So, here are the primary causes starting the main with agriculture. What do you mean by that? Dahil ang agriculture is the number one na nagkakause ng deforestation. For example, picturing a spot that there's covering trees at biglang may magtatayo ng isang palayan at livestock that can cause forest loss. At isa na rin dito yung pagtatayo ng mga structures. They will develop roads, rails, etc. At pagde-develop rin ng isang lugar upang maging urbanize ito.
Water and land pollution. These two represents two environmental pollution in which this issue is man-made. Ang mga palagiang mga nagiging dahilan nito ay ang pagtapon ng basura kung saan-saan at ang pagkakaroon ng kalat tulad na lamang ng pesticides and animal waste. This issue in climate change actually endangers humans and the aquatic system. Halimbawa ng land pollution ay ang pagkakalat ng mga tao. Ang magiging epekto nito sa mga tao ay ang pagkakaroon ng mga sakit, tulad na lamang ng sakit na tetanus, in which it is a bacteria that can be found everywhere, such as in soil and dust. At ang halimbawa naman sa aquatic system ay ang paggamit ng ship o barko upang maging transportasyon ng mga tao. The more people use ship as a transportation, the more the carbon dioxide emit, which has a big impact about global climate change and acidification. The next is population growth hastens climate change. Tayong mga tao ay aware kapag mas marami ang tao, mas marami ang magiging epekto sa environment. Maraming tao ang hindi nakakaunawa kahit na mayroon pang nakalagay na signage sa paligid. Marami pa rin ang nagkakalat kung saan-saan. And people frequently dump waste illegally in areas such as forests, open fields, at ditches, kumpara sa pagtapon ng basura sa mga designated dumping areas. Even people intentional or unintentional doing dumping of waste illegally, it pollutes the environment and it releases chemicals and microparticles.
Emissions from aviation make a significant contribution to climate change. Aircraft burn fossil fuels, producing not only carbon dioxide but also nitrogen oxides, vapor trails, and cloud formations at high altitudes. Every year, global aviation generates approximately 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide, which is more than the majority of nations' emissions. This is roughly multiple times more carbon dioxide than is created by a common transport or train ride that directly sends gases into the upper levels of the atmosphere. Simply, aircraft emissions contribute to chemical reactions and atmospheric effects that raise global temperatures and have a significant impact on the climate.
In hopes of preventing deforestation, it is important as we student and as a human educate people about how value it is to planting a trees and how it impacts our quality of life.
Preventions. Upang mapigilan ang water and land pollution na nagiging dahilan ng climate change, ang unang kinakailangan ng mga tao ay maging aware sa kung saan nga ba dapat nating itapon ang mga basura ng nasa tamang tapunan. Also, if possible, gamitin natin muli ang mga gamit na pwede pang magamit. Dahil kung tayo ay magtatapon lamang ng mga gamit ay sayang lamang ito. And learn the 3 R's, which is the reduce, reuse, and recycle. At ang panghuli ay sustainable agriculture. Kinakailangan na isaayos ang food production na walang nasasayang. Kinakailangan din ito upang sa gayon ay maprotektahan ng ating kalikasan at mabigyan importansya ang mga natural resources ng ating mundo.
But by switching flight paths to fly at lower altitudes and by using cleaner fuels, we can reduce the amount of pollutants. Similar to power-to-liquid e-fuels, have the potential to be carbon neutral or lower carbon alternative fuels that can reduce aviation emissions. In the present, the only fuel that can be used sustainably to reduce the environmental impact of aviation emissions is e-kerosene. However, flying less is the most effective method for reducing emissions.
Sudden changes in the climate patterns not only affects our economy but us people as well. It affects the food crops, vegetation, and livestock. In food crops or vegetations, it affects the growth process or time of its production because of the exceeding temperatures and the abnormalities in the weather patterns. Also as to the livestock, that it can cause death to animals or the absence of their food as well. Not only to our food sources but also to our surroundings like the floods, heat wave, storm that can also affect us humans because it can affect our health. The malaria that came from the mosquitoes, dengue because of floods, also the feces of rats that can cause leptospirosis. And also these said abnormalities in weather conditions can not only affect our health nor our properties, but also it could take our lives.
We can't really stop climate change because it's actually happening here. We get source to build buildings or structure in our country and we can reduce it like planting trees again. Sa tingin ko, ang climate change ay konektado din sa mga tao. Marahil tayo ang gumagawa ng ikasisira ng lugar o tayo ang nagpapanatiling malinis. Tayo lang naman din ang nakatira sa Earth, kailangan responsible natin itong ingatan at maintain ang pagkuha ng mga resources upang mabawasan o hindi lumala ang climate change.
Let's talk about the importance of knowing how to prevent climate change. Why is it important to know? Is it important to us to know how to prevent climate change? as the ones who are responsible for this cause. The change in climate is taking place at an alarming rate and in a way that is irreversible. By knowing its impact and prevention, it makes us aware of the results of our responsibility in taking care of our world. And it might serve to us as an eye-opening and might do an action that can limit the impact of climate change. Maybe it serves as a lead to change and correct our behavior. There are things we can do to help, even if we can't stop it. Dahil sa totoo lang ay kasalukuyan na natin itong nararanasan, may magawa man lang tayo to at least reduce its impact.
Tacloban has been flattened.
Dozen of all storms ever seen on this planet.
The coastal areas are also devastated.
In this super typhoon is about 300 miles across.
My fellow Filipinos, global warming is a serious issue in the Philippines. We are facing a serious threat that affects us all, and that is a global warming. Global warming is a serious issue in the Philippines. Being developing country, it's particularly vulnerable to its impact, which include rising sea levels and food and water scarcity. The effect of global warming are already being felt in our country, with more frequent and severe typhoons, floods, and droughts. This event caused massive damage to our facilities, homes, and livelihoods, as well as loss of lives. We must take urgent action. We need to work together as individuals, communities, and government to reduce greenhouse gas emission and build resilience to climate change. We are facing a crisis and we must take action to address it. The data tell us that our planet is getting hotter, and the Philippines is not exception. We have seen a steady increase in temperature over the years, with the hottest year on record being 2015, 2016, and 2019. This increase in temperature has led to more frequent and intense heat waves, which have a significant impact on our daily lives. Moreover, the rising temperature has led to sea level rise, which the sea level in the Philippines, rising by the average of 3.6 millimeters per year from 2000 to 2020. This increase in the sea level threatens our coastal communities, and we must take action to protect them. Furthermore, we are one of the countries most affected by typhoons, with one average of 20 typhoons entering the Philippines area of responsibility. These typhoons have caused devastating floods, landslide, and storm surge, resulting in loss of life and property damage. Super Typhoon Haiyan in 2013 was the strongest typhoon ever recorded in history and caused over 6,000 deaths in the country. But we cannot afford to be complacent. We must take action to address this crisis. We can reduce our carbon footprint by using renewable energy sources, reducing waste, and choosing eco-friendly products. Together, we can make difference. We must act now before it's too late. Together, we can make a difference. We must act now before it's too late. Let us work together to protect our planet and secure a better future for ourselves and for future generations.